Hey guys, I am Kourtney Danielson, co-owner of Cinch Cycling, and I am here today with one of our Cinch Cycling's newest coaches, Sophie Johnson.
Hi everyone.
And today we're going to talk about why you should have a coach, why everybody that wants to get better at something, regardless of what it is, should have a coach.
I mean, it's a question I get asked all the time. You're a coach, why do you need a coach? Kourtney is married to one of America's most successful professional cyclists, a career that spanned 15 years on the pro circuit, and she still has a coach. So we're just here to explore ideas of why a coach is so important and what it can add to your cycling, your life, and creating a really kind of high performance lifestyle. So Kourtney, what's the main reason do you think you've got a coach?
Well, full disclosure, Sophie is actually my coach, which is actually been a surprise to a lot of people. Like she said, Tom's this amazing cyclist, he's created this awesome program, like, why doesn't he coach you? Well, first of all, like, if anybody's been coached or had their husband critique them, you know it's really hard. You know that having, the person that you live with and you build this life also be the one to coach you and critique you is really difficult.
And 9 times out of 10 it ends in some kind of meltdown. I can't do this, I'm going home. I've been there certainly several times before when James, my boyfriend's been trying to teach me something, and well, I don't know if you've been there exactly, Kourtney, but
oh no, for sure. We went like mountain biking one time and I literally flew off a cliff into a bush, and I was asking if we could get airlifted out of there. And I wasn't hurt. I just was so frustrated, and I was crying, and it was terrible. We've gone on some mountain bike rides since, but not kind of from a coaching perspective, more from a fun perspective.
So I guess it just distances that relationship between partner and coach, and there's probably sometimes difficult conversations you need to have as a coach and an athlete. And we all know that if we mix business and pleasure, it doesn't always work out best. So yeah, I guess that's reason number one.
And what really impressed me about Sophie was she's been with us for a couple years. She's actually, if you can't tell, she's British. So she's based out of the UK. And when we did our France camp, her and her boyfriend James met us in France. And I was listening to her, kind of teach a lot of the concepts in the same way that I would teach them or Tom would teach them. And I was just so impressed with her understanding of our kind of methodology that she had garnered just from being over there. And truth be told, she was one of the more low maintenance clients. So we were just so impressed with how much you knew about the program, and then your passion for the program.
Yeah, well, I've been on a journey with Tom myself. So like Kourtney says, going through that whole program, really understanding exactly what Cinch is about, really understanding the form and fitness method that Tom has created, helps a lot when I'm working with athletes. I think to talk about my perspective, what does a coach give me? I think it's kind of the eyes and ears and the ability to look at myself holistically as an athlete. So look at my areas of weaknesses, look at my strengths, look at areas that I perhaps need to focus on better mentally, how I prepare for my training, where's my skill level at. And it's so much easier to have a third person do that as opposed to try and look in the mirror and honestly critique yourself. I don't know if you found that as well, Kourtney.
No, for sure. And there's something that Tom says a lot about kind of building confidence, and how we like to build confidence here at Cinch is through 3 parts. It's through skills, ability, and direction. And your coach should give you all of those things. If your coach is just giving you interval workouts, maybe they're helping with your fitness, maybe they're not. Do they have a long-term plan? What's the short-term plan? I think that what we do a really great job here at Cinch is looking at your coaching and you as an athlete as a whole, and really nailing down each little bit, so you can really live that high-performance life on and off the bike.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point that you've just touched on, Kourtney. We're not just talking about pro athletes. A lot of athletes that we work with, they don't even race. This is about being the best version of yourself. It's about turning up to a club ride and smashing your mates, making their legs hurt. It's about really feeling like you've owned a set of intervals. It's like climbing a climb in France that you've always wanted to, but doing it really well. So, like I said, it's about creating that best version of yourself. And what a lot of athletes find is that what we do on the bike and the skills that we give them actually translates into life, into the corporate world, into family life. Whether that's spending time with your kids or whether that's spending time with your partner. It's kind of all encompassing, isn't it?
For sure. I think there's a huge correlation between showing up every day for your workout, taking that time for yourself to work on yourself, and then showing up every day in other aspects of your life.
So if we just focus on those three concepts, the ability, skill and direction, we really kind of break those down. So the ability is kind of what are we doing, what are we focusing on, what is actually the core aspect of that workout. The skill is then the execution part, so how are we going to do that? How are we going to work on cadence control? How are we going to work on body position? How are we going to work on transitional control in between intervals, in between gears? And then the direction is really the why, so why are we doing this? How is that going to actually relate to our cycling out on the road? What's it going to make us better at? And I think it's really hard as an athlete and a coach, if you're trying to manage yourself, to do all of that. It's really easy to have someone kind of parachute into the detail, give you these sessions, but then give you the meat around it. I think you said earlier, it's not just about coming up with these crazy interval sessions and saying, there you go, off you go, here's your week's plan. It's actually translating to you as an athlete why you're doing something on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, and we really try and focus on, teaching our athletes kind of the Tour de France version of cycling, the absolute highest version of cycling. And we do that through our 4 pillars, which are focus, which is, your mental strength, fitness, obviously, your power, execution, and like she said before, the transitional control, race strategy, things like that, and your nutrition, which, a lot of people struggle with a lot. And I think that when we use all 4 of the pillars together is really when you get that Tour de France version of cycling.
Absolutely, and I don't think there's many coaching organisations out there that actually bring all 4 pillars together. So, you look at some of the most successful teams or athletes even in the world, they won't just have one coach, they'll have a coach that works on your focus and your mental kind of awareness or ability. They'll look at your fitness, they'll look at your nutrition. And so the way that Cinch cycling has been developed with the 4 pillars brings everything together, so you get a full holistic picture of how to be the best version of yourself, really.
Yeah, and there's one more thing I want to touch on. It wasn't until Sophie became my coach and started looking at my workouts and putting them in and commenting that I really felt like I was getting the full version. I thought I was doing all of the Cinch things because, with my husband, we created it together. But it wasn't until I had someone to really look at it and give me the feedback that I needed, that only a coach can provide, that I really feel like now I'm improving so much faster. I'm super motivated. I get all my workouts in, and it's really thanks to Sophie here.
Well, I can second that with, when I first started working with Tom, I've got a background in cycling. I was very lucky at one point that it was my job. And, working with Kourtney and Tom kind of really relit that fire and made cycling fun again for me. And also made me open my eyes to maybe how much I still had to learn, which is awesome, because as an athlete we always want to grow, we always want to get better. No one wants to get stale and feel like they know it all. And it was just really refreshing to think, wow, there's all these things that I still need to learn and I still need to get better at. So yeah, absolutely awesome.
Oh, and did we mention that she's the 2-time British mountain bike champion, national champion? Maybe we left that out, but I'm glad we got it in. So she's definitely a seasoned pro, but we're super lucky to have her at Cinch, and we're super
I'm
grateful she's
super
here.
lucky to be working with you, model athlete, and absolutely nails her workouts every day. It's been awesome. So well done. High five.
High five. Well, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you soon.
Bye.